Awesome.
I'm sorry you couldn't go live on your own thing. What's up with that shit?
I know. I think it's just because my following's so small, because it was like, oh, you're not eligible. So I think I have like 56 followers. So, I mean, I think that's why it was not working. So.
Oh, that's a shame. We gotta get those numbers up, girl. Shoot. Yeah.
I know. I do. So that I can, Yeah.
Yeah. So for anyone who's watching, so this is one of my best friends, Cecily. She's an awesome woman, and I just want to make a disclaimer. Put some respect on her name too, because she don't play. She don't play around, but she's the biggest person I know. So I'm just for anyone who's watching. I get like.
Yeah.
I know when. So last time I went live with someone on Instagram, it was probably like 4 years ago. I believe it was like with Sonia or somebody else. So it's been a minute for me. So when it comes to just going live with someone on Instagram, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so used to being on YouTube and just do my own thing on there too. So, but yeah, this is fun. I'm definitely looking for it. And this is your show, by the way, so I'm doing this for you. So
thank you. I'm so excited. I need to, my next plan is to start that YouTube channel up for this account, Yourspiritshand, because my goal is to turn it into something useful and something that can bring community together, and that's just what I want. I mean, spreading love and knowledge and stuff. Eventually, I'll get onto products. Once we get to know each other, I start building the community, when it comes to spiritual things like water magic, things like that. But right now, I think you and I have dealt with things in the past, and I'm dealing with stuff right now at work. But the topic is really just being, Black in the spiritual community.
And too,
yeah, Black man or Black woman in the spiritual community, and the things that we have faced and experienced.
Oh my God.
So, yeah, and it's like, it's like for privacy reasons, for one particular story, and you know what I'm talking about. We won't use names, but that's something that we experienced together, which just blows my mind. Some of the stuff I'll have to try to tell with a straight face, because we can laugh about it now, but at the time it just wasn't funny. I'll try to recall everything, because some of it I've taken it out of my mind because it's just ridiculous. But so yeah. But
right away.
Yeah.
That's inspiring. I gotta do that because I'm just in my room, so I gotta. Oh my gosh, gotta put some life into it a little bit. So I was like, oh, she's got an office. I might have to look into that in the future. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, this is my room. This is just this is my room. Oh, I thought it was an office. No.
Oh, it looks nice.
Thank you. No, this is my room. I actually have you can't see it, but I have a desk on the other side, but it's a small desk. And this is across my altar, where I do, candle magic, and just offerings and things like that. And so all I did was pull my office chair right here to make it easier.
Okay.
Because because I don't have the best background either, but I was just oh, you know what? Let me.
It looks way better than mine. Mine just looks like something you see in an anime in the prison wall or something. It's like you see my room, but it's it's got posters and everything. My TV's right on my left and windows on my right, and I'm using a tripod and a thing I use for my laptop just so you guys can see me. I'm not sitting in my old 4-year-old gaming chair, which I'm going to replace on my birthday. It's just it's a cool setup, but I always want to improve, and especially in the spiritual community and the wellness community, how people can really just heal in their own way, and to really just go through that, when it comes to who they are, if they're a Black man, if you're a Black woman, or anybody too, it really just makes a difference. And I know I've shared some stories with you, off of social media. It's just, when it comes to what I've dealt with in the spiritual and wellness community, it's just wow, how did I not turn to a villain? Because I would have had every opportunity to turn to a villain, but I'm not going to do that because that's not who I am. So it's wow, it's just being the Black man in the spiritual community. And I'm not saying it's weird to say that, but I always like to just really be who I am, and just really, when it comes to just, accepting of people who are Black men or Black women, white women or white men or Asian, etc. When it comes to if they're open to just learning something new, from a different perspective when it comes to with like spiritual teachings, like with tantra, it can be with Reiki, it can be with yoga, it can be with shamanism, or all the above, and just really, I want to put my own spin to it, but also to just really drop in some knowledge, while also to just really be entertaining too at the same time, and education. Just really being myself basically when it comes to with the spiritual and wellness communities. But at the same time, I know you've probably seen this before too, as a woman yourself, and especially as a Black woman, but there's some weird shit in the spiritual and wellness communities. I'm just gonna really be straight up about it. And this is not just me saying that. This is from research from podcasts and other media too, when it comes to on YouTube, on Instagram, and especially when it comes to with other forms of media. There's even documentaries about this stuff too, which I'm not going to name names, but you could really research it for yourselves too when it comes to with that. And it's just crazy how most people are misrepresented, especially when it comes to like with their cultures too. Like they're from East Asia, India, or from Japan, or anywhere else too. And especially with our people too. It's crazy. It feels like mostly when it comes to with the spiritual and the wellness communities. That's like, I think I said this in the video, it's like, it's mostly whitewash. I'm just going to keep it a buck. And so,
it is.
And you could, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It is. And the thing about it is it comes down to a respect thing. And that's an issue where I feel like people love to take and they love to act like they created it, and they love to take and they don't want to put any respect on where it came from. It's not brand new. You didn't create it. You took it and you played with it a little bit to make it seem a certain way, but you're not giving the credit to whom you took it from. And that gets down to a respect thing. So when we don't have respect for other people's cultures, it's not okay. And I feel like that's like a big, big issue where the problem comes from. Even when it comes to things like hoodoo, which we know was brought over way back then in the diaspora, when our people were brought over here and we were slaves, and we had to make do with what we had around us, herbs, earth, things like that, because we were taken from our land where we were living as our true self, able to perform ceremonies, and we had birthrights and we had teachings and things. But when we came over here, we were stripped of that, and we had to completely change. They wanted to whip it and beat it out of us. We had to do things differently in secrecy. And so I can see how when certain cultures, there's like an issue I've seen where if you aren't Black and you want to practice hoodoo or certain African magical practices, you're shunned. It's like, no, that's not for you, that's for us. But then if you're not Black enough, or you don't look Black enough, or you don't have enough blood quantum to show like I'm Black enough to do this, you're also shunned.
So it's like a double-edged sword, isn't it? Yeah.
So when it comes to being Black enough back then, I think it was called like a one drop rule, or like a one something, like one drop of Black blood, you're Black. They didn't care. Even, if you were light skinned or whatever, you were Black. And then we take it now, and the brainwashing and the torture, it was so inhumane back then, that it was almost like bred into us now, to where we have turned on each other, and we think that the complexion of our skin, you're darker than I am, I'm lighter than you, and that could be cause for us to turn on each other. You know what I mean? Back then, you're fair skin, so you're light skin, your duties are different than the darker one. Within our communities, they turned us against each other, and we still carry that on now, which is what they wanted. And it translates to everything. Even the westernization of yoga, which is right up your alley, because you know a lot more. You have like certifications and experience, so you know a lot about that, more than I do. So
when it comes to with yoga, and it's a really beautiful practice of growth, not just like with the physical practice, the asanas, but also with just like with the 8 limbs of yoga too. And sometimes when I think of with the yoga philosophy, it tends to get out of my brain sometimes. It always tends to just like when it comes to with with meditation, many forms of meditation, there's many forms of yoga too. It's just like, I don't know how to explain it, but like when it comes to like with the meditations and the asana practices too, how people can really just practice that in their own way really makes a difference. You don't have to do exactly what other people are doing. Like for example, this is like around 2013 when I was doing yoga at LA Fitness of all places.
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought, it was just like a workout. And with my ignorance with that, and it's just, I met someone very special. And I could mention who, but if she's watching, I know she knows what I'm talking about. It was just like there's more to it when it comes to with just the asana practices, many forms of meditation. It could be from sitting down, it could be from walking, it could really, even just like when it comes to with practicing mindfulness, learning about, your doshas and the chakras and everything else. It's amazing. It's a lot of information when it comes to with yoga and many forms of yoga too, but once you just really, learn the actual knowledge of it, respecting these practices from East Asian cultures like in India and South Asia too, and just really, understanding it and really understanding yourself basically too, first and foremost when it comes to with this practice. It's just like, it's like yoga is not a competition. It's really like a powerful practice for personal growth. I'm just gonna put it in the most simplest terms. Like you don't have to really do like the craziest headstands to really just do that. But if you want to, just really practicing that safely in your own way, which is cool. You can really just like take a few minutes of your day to really just, take a deep breath. It could be from just like 1 minute to 5 and just take a deep breath in and just really inhaling with the nose. And then just, if you want to exhale the breath out, just exhale the breath out or through the nose too, whichever that really just feels right for you. And just really exploring that. There's many forms of breath work. It could be, I know there's like a fire one, there's like a one that really warms you up, there's one that calms you down. And I have to do my little researching and just to put all the names because there's a lot of information, especially in my to take in. But, yeah, but like what you just mentioned when it comes to just like with our people just going against each other really hits home too, especially now because it's like I can't tell you how much content when it comes to with certain black men who really just put black women down, like they saying like, oh, this single mom is this way or that way, just to really push a narrative, especially on certain social media platforms, especially on YouTube, especially. And I see this more on YouTube than on Instagram, just because it's like on Instagram you see like a post here and here for like a few minutes, but like on Instagram it's like a whole marathon show, and it's really crazy too. It's like really just out of like cautionary terms for anyone who's curious about seeing that kind of content. You just brace yourself because it's crazy. But especially in the spiritual and wellness community still, it's just like there's people out there who will just push a narrative, they'll try to make you think a certain way, make you second guess yourself, make you doubt yourself as a black woman or a black man. And really just like for anyone who's just listening, especially to anyone who's just really putting their own people down just to really get some credit for some clout. Most kids say it nowadays. See, I can't believe I'm saying the kids now because I'm 30. I'll be 37 in the next couple months. But it's just like when it comes to just with that kind of content, it's really for people to really just be aware of content that you're listening to, and especially when it comes to people who are in those certain spaces in the spiritual wellness community, or even just like in the entertainment field. It's just like if you see someone is bashing black women and just talking about it over and over and over again, and they're just truly trying to prove a point, or even like with other content too, it's just with that, it's just really good to really just recognize that. And so even like there's this like it's really sad honestly when it comes to with the self-hatred and the colorism in our communities, just because we're all beautiful in our own way, like you are, for example, or like how you and your husband treat each other is really beautiful. How I am too. It's like I like who I am, like fellas, a little lopsided because I can cut it, or just like that. It is what it is. I'm comfortable in my own skin. And even just like when it comes to just, I always promote my content when it comes to just like embracing who you are and loving that, deep within and every aspect of yourself, whether you're a black woman or a black man, and etc. It's just really doing that in a healthy way and really just, I even explain this on my channel, calling out the bullshit when it comes to just like with people who are just putting other people down just because it's like they don't agree to their narrative, or they're just trying to promote that kind of unhealthy kind of content to it. So it's a lot to explain, but it's what this topic is very powerful, and it's just very.
Have you ever experienced doing like the right thing, and like you said, like speaking out or like standing up to do the right thing, and then it has like it like backfires to where you were trying to be helpful? I've had this situation happen actually recently, and because I've been telling you about the stuff that's going on at work,
right? Where
with me, it's really like what you see is what you get, and I say what I mean what I say. Try my best to be, really, I know I'm open-minded, but I'm honest. Like, I try my best to be a good person to basically put out the energy that I want to receive, and just to spread love. That's my thing. Mm-hmm. Yours too. Mm-hmm. There's been times where, and specifically recently, where it's like that energy is not being, I don't know, it's like, I don't know if it's too much or it's like aggravating to some people. It's like you're not everybody's cup of tea, but like some people are going to gravitate towards you, and like you're either going to get like drained or a lot of love back, or they like hate it and it like burns them up to where they want to make other people turn on you. And then you find yourself maybe defending yourself. And that's something that I've experienced, is to where there has been hatred out of nowhere, or I don't know, it's not stemming it's them, it's the other person. You end up defending yourself because you're doing the right thing, and then that kind of backfires because it gets you nowhere. Well, my point with this is, I think there comes a time where we have to kind of step back and say, I'm not going to defend myself. It's like against you and your narrative. If that's how you feel about me, and I've already done the right thing, I'm gonna take a few steps back and let you think what you want, because the whole thing with like, even when it comes to like manifestation and putting these like positive things out so that you get good things back, mm-hmm. I've noticed that sometimes before things like work out just as like smoothly, or they come how we want them to come, sometimes there's little kinks in the road, or certain circumstances, certain people that will come up in the form of a person, certain like obstacles that will come through people. And you'll just be like, is this a test? Yeah. And I always like to say, like, don't run when you're being tested. You got to go with the flow. These things always bring me back to water, because water not only moves, it removes. So I like to think of opportunities, issues, things, just like the water coming in towards you, and it's pulling away the negativity and the issues. So we have to get really secure and be really self-assured. And I know in the Black community, and I'm sure in other communities too, like with the indigenous, other people who have went through things, but specifically with us, like I said, I believe that with most of us, it's been like almost bred into us, the ideas. I mean, I know like family members, because a lot of my family is from the South, and there's just certain things that they have said before, the older Black folks. If a white person's coming down the sidewalk or something, you move over. Not like regular respect where it's like, oh, go ahead and pass. It's like, no, I have to move because you're white and I'm not. You know what I mean? Or making eye contact with certain other people. So it's those things that are still being like living through from the past out of fear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can understand where you're coming from, especially being a Black family too. And, honestly, and this is just really sharing my own experience being a Black family and being raised by two awesome Black parents. It was just like, I grew up in a really predominantly very multicultural environment in Orange County, California. So I'm fortunate enough not only to meet, dealing with my own family when it comes to with that, but also with other people too from different backgrounds. And even like my dad's from Virginia and my mom's originally from Santa Ana, but my grandpa is from Mississippi. So, like, you know, he came down here during the 50s when it comes to during Jim Crow, and just bought some homes with his brothers, my uncles at the time, and just really want to live a better life. And, you know, I don't know full much of the stories just because I was used to be the baby and the only man in the family, but it's just like, you know, when it comes to with dealing with other people too for the first time, and, you know, honestly, like, when it comes to like with dealing with other people, like with white folks too, no offense to anyone who's listening, the ones I actually know who are cool people, it was just like, I was really taught to really just be careful of certain people who just really do some weird stuff to me. It's kind of like if they like say some shady stuff, they disrespect me in a weird way. It's just like, always told me to look out for that, especially if it's like someone who's like an authority figure, like a teacher or a cop or anyone else too. And just really being mindful of that. Even my dad taught me about that too when it comes to just really being careful with certain people. Not just because I don't want to be fearful, just because he wants, you know, me to really just be safe. And he said the same thing to my sister and, you know, her granddaughter too. And my mom said the same thing in her own way too when it comes to with that. And just like, you know, when it comes to with family too, and you know, family is, you know, we, you know, especially in the Black community, we're like the most giving and, you know, people alive too. And but sometimes too, like especially as we are growing up when you're kids, you know, you love your family, but at the same time, it's like you outgrown them, but in a way, you still love them.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, that's my dad and that's my grandpa. It's like, you know, their beliefs, like they went through some painful stuff, which is understandable, but like, you know, at our age too, especially like, you know, if we're in our 30s or even younger, we're in a different time zone too. But at the same time, it's kind of like, you know, when it comes to just like, you know, really understanding their perspective, but also just really being assured to who you are is really important, because like there's some stuff that my dad tells me all the time about certain people, just be to look out for. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. But at the same time, I just really got to explore that for myself and just really see. But that's how, you know, my mom and dad raised me too. And it's been really, you know, somewhat successful in a ways, but at the same time, I ran into some of the most weird ass people on the planet. And you know this too.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, certain people. And oh my gosh, it's just like, I can really write a fucking show about this too, really.
Yeah.
Because my experience with that and how certain people fetishize you, they want to just suck the black off you, not just trying to get vulgar, but really being real with you. It's just like they'll put you on the pedestal in a weird way. They want you to be in certain dynamics and they'll try to control everything. And then they'll portray you in the most weird ways too. Like I remember in this tarot community, and like even before that, I was just like, you know, I thought we were cool. We were doing shows about like Dr. Strange and spiritual topics, and then it happened when it comes to with my knowledge of just, well, I was going through some stuff, and then I got banned from that tarot community. I was like, what the hell? Like you like?
I remember that.
It was the most craziest thing. I was like, what the hell is that for?
Yeah.
I was supporting you, and they're supporting me. I thought we were a community and all that too, but it was just weird about that. I was like, what the hell is happening? And then it was just crazy. You know, even talking with you about it and other people too in the spiritual community, they thought it was the most fucked up thing that ever happened to me. And practically so it was.
And didn't you reach out to that person that was in charge of that group? Didn't you reach out and say like, hey, why'd you kick me from the group? And like they didn't have there was no sensible.
So twice on Instagram, I'm not gonna mention their names, but it's just like, what the hell? Like, I thought we were cool because we collabed a few times, and I thought we were cool. I was like, yo, just give me a call and see what's up. And he just did it in a sneaky way. They even gave like the full details what I was being accused of. It was just like, they didn't give me a name, what was the thing I did when it comes to with that. Because I'm the kind of person that if I did something wrong, I want to reflect on it and just really, you know, take accountability of my actions. So I did something wrong. So it's like, I'm not trying to like avoid all the trouble and all that. So it was really weird. And that's like water under the bridge, and I'm over it and healed from that. But at the same time, I remember it too, just because it's like those experiences. It's just like, wow, I can't believe that fucking happened.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, you know, situation where you were doing is it Siva or Seva? I want to pronounce it properly. Siva?
The Seva, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That was, oh my gosh, it was okay. I thought, when it comes to just like any opportunity, knowing when it comes to giving, and that was easy. It was just like, hey, I'm a giving person, just helping out when it comes to just, service and all that. But I just really noticed some stuff when it comes to with Seva. That was just like, am I wasting my energy? Because not in a way, it's just like, there's nothing wrong being of service when it comes to just helping out people, especially for ones who are less fortunate, just by just, helping them out, or just, making them something, or just really doing something for them out of the genuine your own heart when it comes to whether you're a man or a woman, which is totally awesome. Like, fully support that. Even if you don't have to really just be a celebrity to do that. You can really just be a regular person who wants to just help out in your community. Just giving, if you want to just, give a toy to someone, to a kid, or, do something for, for adults. You can make soup or whatever. When it comes to supporting your own community, that's beautiful. I'm fully supportive of that. What I'm against when it comes to with that, and this is just my own experience and opinions, is just like, your time being wasted, that you're being fetishized, or just like, being used as a prop per se too. That's what you told me about that when it comes to just like what I was doing to Seva. I was like, oh shit, like she was right, because it's just like, when it comes to people you thought but it's kind of like, and once you realize that they did do some really weird shit behind closed doors, it's like, okay, wait a minute, bitch. I was like, wait a minute, you did that to my friend. What the hell?
The problem arises too when you are disguising one thing as another. So if you're somebody who, again, has no respect for another culture, and you're going to take their cultural beliefs or their anything, and you're not going to put any respect on it, and you're just going to be like, hey, sign this paperwork. I'm going to sign you up for Seva or Seva. Excuse me, I don't know the proper pronunciation. I don't want to butcher it, so I want to be respectful.
Yeah.
Seva?
Yeah, you got it right.
You're going to sign up for Seva, but then at the same time, you're going to be harassed. It's just got weird. So from the interview that took place, where you were interviewed for the same thing, and your interview lasted like what? Like
5 minutes at least.
Mine went on for what, like an hour or more?
We were like, you and your partner, we were waiting for you. I was like, is she all right? I was gonna go back in, but I was like, keep my space. Like, okay, maybe she can handle it. But
yeah,
I was like,
that hour. First of all, I didn't know that yours was so short. And in that hour, the events that took place were just like, I was like, okay. From the person who owned the studio asking me what my ethnic background was, because she was fetishizing blacks, to her lying about her own husband, what his ethnicity was, because she was fetishizing the Indian culture, like from India. Like she takes the person that we're talking about, like takes trips over there, like, and stays, and it's almost like she's taking notes on whatever she can make money off of, and whatever she can take and bring back here to the States, so that she can just like add it to her collection. It's almost like a cabinet of oddities that she can make money off of. And it went from like, you're going to be doing this work, it's wonderful service, helping, into her being inappropriate, splitting her legs open. So what I later found out was where children did their yoga, but she was up there splitting her legs open, spinning around, acting a fool. So I even heard her on the phone. Somebody called and was like, hey, I'm selling yoga mats. And she freaked out and was like, they're stolen, like, who is this and that. I was accusing the person on the phone of stealing them to sell them for cheaper. And I was like, wait a minute, like, you can't make the assumption that person stole them. They could have just bought them in bulk or have a pallet, and they're calling yoga studios to try to, sell them or whatever, to make some money in this economy. So that was weird. To her rubbing on your back in that way, like she might as well have been gripping on your butt.
Yeah.
And she was
I did
just
not know, honestly, because I was just with the hug. I thought it was a genuine one too. But like, I'm just gonna say when it comes to with like nature, when it comes to with men and women, like women are more observant than men. I'm not saying like men aren't observant, but we are observant in some ways. But like women are observant when it comes to with women's behavior too. Sometimes it's like when a man gets a hug from a woman, it's like, oh, okay, let's get a hug and that's cool. But like when it comes to with women, they'll see like the full details where the hands place for how the energy is, and it's like that's just from my own experiences.
I thought you guys were like, I thought maybe you guys had hit it off and like you were dating, and then I found out she was married, and I was like, what? I was like, you're married? That's weird.
Yeah, I would never cross that line.
Yeah.
She's a mutual friend of mine that knows the person I know longer than I know her. So it's like, I'm not going to cross that line. It's just like, I was just doing this just because my friend offered that, opportunity to me, and I thought it would be a cool thing until what happened with you. And it was just like, I got to just stop because this is not cool.
Yeah.
Support people who harass people out there, ethnicity, and trying to fetishize them in the disrespectful way. So like, fuck that. Excuse my language. I just gotta go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just got weird. The whole thing was weird. I don't know why I was in it for so long. Then she gave me a tour and was like showing me a certain room where she said gurus come in. Like she made it seem like it was like a rank. Like gurus come in here, they fly in, and I give them special treatment and like stuff like that. So it was just. And then she was like, we'll pay you. And then didn't she say, like, for our work, we get, like, a free yoga class, or we can sit in on a yoga class or something like that? I don't know. I was like, you can keep a yoga class, sweetheart, because something's off here. But she was basically, I think we looked up what Siva was supposed to be, and she took that and, like, twisted it.
Yeah, turned it to modern labor and shit.
Yeah, she did. She turned it into free labor.
Yeah.
And it wasn't free. Yeah, it was weird. And then she was like, do you guys have any other friends like you, like that she wants to have join in? What do you mean, like us?
Yeah, you just hit the nail on the head there. What do you mean, us? I was like, not trying to play the victim, but it's kind of like, what do you mean by that? It's like,
no, there's no victim about it. She was dead, like no joke. Was fetishized, like wanted blacks to be her worker, her whatever. She wanted us to be the ones.
What's a word? I think I heard this in the video game. I can't say the S word, but it's like endurance. I don't know. It's the words in my mind. I just can't say it. It's not coming out of my mouth. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I felt like
something or something like that. Yeah. So
it was so uncomfortable, and then I remember like telling you about it, and then you just being like drawn back because you did not have the same experience, and you felt sorry because you knew her through a mutual friend, and you were like, I was like, don't be sorry, like it's not your fault, you didn't know. She just like unleashed it on me and was, I don't know, but it was a no. So I'm glad we both got out of that situation.
Yeah.
And then...
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. Go ahead. What were you saying?
I was going to say, when you told me about that situation, I was so pissed off about it. Internally, I was just like, I was done with that place too. Because even my dad was asking, like, like with all that experience, like the stuff that I was doing too, I could have got paid for it and just really doing like the same job that I was doing when I was 18. I was like, what the hell? Like, why are you working for free? It's like you could really just use your energy to do something that you're passionate about, and you really just be rewarded from it, getting paid and being supported and all that. So that's what my dad keeps telling me over and over. It's like, how long are you going to be doing this, son? It's like, now I ask myself, I was going to get the learning experience when it comes to with that until like when you shared me about that incident, what happened with you, because I was originally going to stay a little bit longer if she didn't do that thing. I was like, just get the experience of it too. But then when you told me about your story and what you went through, I was done. I was like, no, you can't treat people like that and just get away with it. Just because there's been stories of, other people too who are supposedly gurus, and like the term guru is another topic too. It's like, nowadays too, people are just, knocking down the peg when it comes to that guru kind of like mentality. Like you see people like the Andrew Tates out there, or just like with other people too, even like other people in the yoga space or the spiritual space or the tantra space too, who are just, who got like accusations of doing inappropriate stuff to their students and to their followers or whatever you want to call them too. And it's just like, it's rightfully so, they're being called out for their really weird and disgusting behavior. And it's just like, whether you're a man or a woman, it's just, it's really good to really just be aware of that kind of stuff. If people are trying to brainwash you or really trying to really just make you doubt yourself too when it comes to with that. And there's another story too. I think I told you about this. When it comes to, this was during COVID. I told you about the story of, I was with supposedly my friend's, I was like this little workshop that she did around 2021, and she's in the tantra community too. She promotes, healthy sexuality and tantra, whatever you want to call it too, when it comes to with that and relationships. And just went to a workshop of hers when it comes to with that. I just really want to just check it out, see what it's about. It was free during the pre-COVID time in 2021. So I participated. It was like a Zoom call. There was like 500 people there in that freaking thing. It was nuts. We're just doing this kind of like, intense breath work, because, breath work is amazing, but also at the same time, it can really just be, you gotta be really careful with it too, just because it's like, it can really, I heard a study, it can really just trigger your fight or flight instinct. So I'm not sure if it's true, but it's just something that I've heard from different teachers from different podcasts. But getting back to the story with that, it was just like, after we did the breath work and all that, and even just like, we were just talking about the experiences of it. And after like the breath work exercise, the host of it too, really like called me out specifically. She called me out specifically out of 500 people, just, saying that, oh, here's my dear friend so-and-so, mentioning my name because we follow each other for quite a long time. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. She wanted me to say what's up. And I was just being myself. I wasn't like in my head. I was just going with the flow when it comes to with that. And then we just started, also started talking. We all started laughing here and there until things got a little bit weird. And like she just mentioned about like how I didn't do the breath work right, and when it comes to with that, I'm in my head a lot. I was like, huh?
What?
I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? She did like a 180 real quick. I was like, wait. In my head, I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I would have cussed her out, but I kept it cool. I was like, well, what do you mean by that? I was like, okay. And I was just weirded out about it. And then like, I was like, okay, whatever. Just like, that's not true. I wasn't in my head. I was just being expressive. That's who I am. Afterwards too, like all is said and done. And this is full. I could take a lie detector to test about it, to tell the truth. I remember this full through and through. It was just like, there was like 500 people in there at least. And then like, before like we all wrapped up when it comes to the free workshop that we were doing, I asked her quickly like, oh, I would love to go to your workshop someday. If it's in Mexico, if it's LA, or anything like that. She said, no, I don't need that. Specifically, on Zoom call. 500 people there too. I kid you not. And that alone, I just stopped, like, I didn't block her per se, but I just stopped believing what she's shared too, because she's not reaching to what she's actually talking about when it comes to with, people who are different. Especially, not just me as a black man, but also to someone who's just, being themselves. So it's like, hey, it's like, it is what, and like the way that she did that, she kind of cut me off when I was trying to express myself. I was like, wait a minute, like what? So that was like a red flag there. And just like for anyone who's experienced that when it comes to with certain people that you thought you knew, like who are really like cool people, but they turn out to be something else, like really just be aware of that. If someone's really trying to make you doubt yourself, make you feel shady about yourself in a really weird way, whether they're a man or a woman in the spiritual and wellness community, just really take note of that, whether it be just like, how you feel to you emotionally or mentally, or even just like with that too. And just don't take no crap from them at all. Just Stand up for yourself. Don't let nobody put you down just because who you are. And in the spiritual and wellness spaces too, being who you are and really just being authentic is priority number one. Just really being who you are. If people don't feel comfortable about that, that's them and it's not you. So I'm just gonna literally let that be known too. So
yeah, if there's a difference of creative criticism or the truth. Like if you don't understand something or you need to be told the truth and somebody's honest with you, brutally honest, or someone, but it's true about you, but they tell you one-on-one, versus somebody who just makes you feel like crap about yourself. It makes you question your own morals. It makes you you know what I mean? Makes you feel disgusting and horrible. You need to know the difference. There's healthy ways to receive information and for someone to give it to you, versus a sick, hateful way for somebody to treat you, and you got to learn the difference. And remember, lessons, messages, things like that will work through people. Spirits will work through people. So if it's something you need to learn, or if you are the one, you could be the beacon of light in a situation. If there's been nonsense going on, there could have been a situation at a job going on for 2 or 3 years. You start working there, all of a sudden, you might be what the group needed, and so the attack might be on you for the whole group to figure out that one person has been the problem the whole time, and you'll be the one to bring it out. You know what I mean? That's just how it is with certain people. So you got to pay attention. People are messengers. People are lessons. They come out of their mouth. They can't even stop it. It's spiritual word vomit. And at the same time, people are also filled with ill intent and hate when they can't stand your spirit. It's just, for me, everything's on a spiritual level. We're just like vessels holding it in. It's like a genie in a bottle. Sort of or just anything that you can think of. We're the vessel holding it, what's inside. And everybody's spirits are different. Some people are full of different ones, and they're not all good, and they have to work on themselves, and then they're here to teach us a lesson. And that's what I've learned with people. And also know that you get what you ask for, and also know that when you lie about things, those lies usually turn out to be the truth, or they come. If you say it's all a lie, you call out of work, you could be like, oh, my cousin got in a car accident, I can't come, but that wasn't true. I guarantee you, sometime in the future, that very cousin that you lied about is actually going to get in that car accident because you put that out there. So people need to learn how to be mindful, and we just need to, again, have respect for each other and learn from each other. Learn from each other so that you can be better and we can grow, because that's where it starts, with you as a person. So yeah, I'm gonna say it again, spread love and have control of yourself. This even goes with prayers. I feel like a lot of people pray asking for things. Oh, God bless me with this, or whoever you're praying to, I need money, I need this, I need that. But then they don't want to take the opportunity given to them, or they don't know what they're really asking for. And that's why they say God gives you what you need. The great creator is always going to give you what you need and what you ask for. It might not always be in the correct, or to you the correct form, but you'll get it. You got to get real specific with what you're asking for during prayer. But know how to pray for yourself. This is something that I learned that has helped me out tremendously, is praying when I pray, or I'm doing my candle workings or whatever I'm doing for myself, asking that I can have the right words to say, or that my reactions in certain situations can be the right reactions. If you're a person that's impatient, if you're a stressful person, or you're a person with certain issues, you better believe that when you pray on it, you're going to be put into the position so that you can exercise the right reaction. And that's going to set you free. So when you're praying for yourself, make sure that you're direct and open. I don't know how I went off onto this topic. I don't remember my point. It just started happening, but that came to my mind.
Yeah.
Pray for yourself and be open open-minded to what you're going to get, and always ask. Like I said, if I have children, and there was a time where my children would be going at it. So not only did I pray, I didn't pray like, oh God, make my kids stop being bad. It was like, no, it was like, help me in this situation, help me to get them into the right environment, or whatever you see that needs to happen around them to calm their souls, help that. And then help me with my reactions. Help me to see what I need to do for them to calm the situation. You know what I mean? And it started working out. So when you pray for yourself, do it right.
Yeah, and just really doing it your own way too. And you mentioned something about, like you said, word vomit, right? When it comes to, and like this is a really powerful thing to remember, because like in certain social media spaces, like on Instagram or like on YouTube especially, word vomit can really just be like disguised as positivity. And there's a term called positivity, if you heard of that.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to with that, like when it comes to people who want to just like have positive vibes only, but at the same time they're really just being the most disrespectful people when it comes to talking about certain people's genders and weight and height and all that, and even from their spiritual backgrounds. If like, say for example, there's like a Christian podcast, someone who's like a content creator who's like a Christian background, but they're really talking a lot of crap about the wellness spaces when it comes to with yoga and with other like natural forms of practices too. It's just like, wow, that's just contradictory. It's like, like in Christianity, you really just should be accepting of everybody. That's how you're raised and taught. But at the same time, they're just disguising that when it comes to just like with positive vibes only too. And this is also too in the spiritual and the wellness communities too, like when it comes to the toxic positivity kind of like issue there too, just because it's like they just want, like, they promote that message when it comes to with positivity, but at the same time they're just talking crap about the most craziest shit ever. And just like, if someone disagrees with them, they'll just like yell at them, scream at them, ban them, and all that kind of stuff too. And it's just crazy, to when it comes to with that. And that's like really when it comes to with my own work too that I do on my YouTube channel. I just tell people to really just be themselves. If you guys disagree, you guys agree, that's cool, because I don't know everything. I'm not the all powerful, all seeing kind of person too. And I have my flaws and I have my strengths, and I'm okay with that. I'm in the stage of my life where I'm truly comfortable where I am. I've been through hell and back. Hell, I should be called the Undertaker, because if I came back from the dead and just rose back stronger. So it's like, what the hell? It's like, I'm still here, motherfucker. And so it's like, when it comes to with that, and I always, promote authenticity and genuine, just like when it comes to with healing and, positivity and all that. Nothing sugarcoated, no bullshit, just really, authentic and real. And that's how much I promote. And there's a lot of fake shit out there on social media, especially like on Instagram and on YouTube.
TikTok.
TikTok. Like, TikTok. There's Lemonade now. There's like a new form of TikTok. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
I don't have a TikTok. I know that it's like super, like I know about it, but I don't have it.
Yeah, it's just like a new form of TikTok. So it's like, it's cool. It's just like it's my TikTok, so it's kind of like funny too.
What's
it's
it
like
called?
a backup. Lemonade.
Lemonade?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like the number 8.
Okay.
It'll find if anyone's on social media wants to just like, it connects you to your TikTok. But anyway, since we're on Instagram, the intro. But really, I just want to highlight to what you were saying when it comes to with prayers, and just like with prayers, it's just like really just really being authentic with your intentions with prayer. It's really powerful. And just like the way that I pray now is I pray to my ancestral deities, not just with Christianity. I'm not saying I know who they are specifically, but in my body, with my cells and with my emotional stuff too, and with my mental stuff, I just connect with that in a really powerful way to really just pray, not just only for myself, but also with my family, for, for the environment, especially when it comes to just like how we are, most of us human beings are treating the planet too. It's like our planet is beautiful if we treat it the right way. How we treat ourselves, it could be the most beautiful place ever. But it's like at the same time, it's, there's some people out there who do that, but there's people out there who still kind of trash it, unfortunately. So it's like, when it comes to with connecting with your ancestral, deities, wherever that may be from your background, is really powerful to remember, especially for, any in the Black community too. When it comes to that, because I remember you mentioning to me when it comes to there's a book when it comes to how Christianity was forced upon us when we came to.
Oh yeah, do I have that book handy?
I have it with me right now.
Yeah, grab your copy. That was.
How to make Negro Christian. Yeah, right.
How to make the Negro Christian.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'll tell you guys who are watching, if you are Black and I don't know, it gets upsetting and hurtful depending on, I don't know, just the way that you are, I guess. This book is, I need to grab my copy. This book it shows like exactly what was going on that time when they were really forcing Christianity into us. First of all, they didn't want us to have Christianity. It wasn't for us. But then they said, oh, well, God's accepting to everybody, so we need to teach the Negro Christianity, basically, because, it's like God's gift. We can't not. But they did it in a way where they didn't give them everything. You know what I mean? And, of course, our people have a different way of being spiritual. And so we learned it, and we took it, and a lot of our African ancestors hid our deities in their saints and blah blah blah, all the things that's Catholicism, but they hid our deities who we worshipped within those Catholic saints, or Mary or things like that. But the book tells you about how it was never, they didn't want us to know it, they didn't want us to learn it, and we took it to another level with the stomping of our feet, with the clapping of our hands, because we know that chanting and music and things like that, really getting the body moving and things like that, connects us to the divine in a different way. So using our voice and things like that, which they didn't want us to do, which scared them, because certain people fear the unknown. We're coming from a whole different background, and you all brought us here and this and that, you know what I mean? So they were scared and they wanted to get a hold of us. The same type of thing happened with the indigenous on a different level as well. But this book, you got to make sure you're in a mindset that you're ready to read it, because it's hurtful and it's an eye-opener, and it can really get you angry, and it could turn you off to where you feel like, oh, well, Christianity is not for me. It wasn't I didn't ask for it. It's not for me. But a lot of our people are very spiritual. I know we're in the Baptist church and different things like that, preachers and things. We've taken it, and we are still practicing our own spiritual traditions today in the Baptist church. When we start getting the Holy Ghost, when we're stomping, when we're clapping, when we're doing all, that's us. You just can't stop it. You just can't stop it. So we've really taken it and made it to our own thing. But yeah, and then some of us might go, because I was brought up Catholic. That's just how I was brought up. But I've also been, ever since I was little, had imaginary friends, which were not imaginary friends. I was able to see spirits, talk to spirits, things like that. And, in the church, they'd be like, okay, well, you're possessed, or you're talking to demons. That's not what you think. You demonized our ways of ancestor veneration. Our deities were demonized. Black magic, dark magic, things associated with black were a problem. We were living just fine. And then now to this day, if we want to learn I'm not over in Nigeria. I'm not going over to Africa to learn these things, and I'm also mixed. So I had to ask for help through spirit to show me things, and they openly showed me, or I had to do the research and read. or I had to realize that certain things taught by my grannies or grandparents over the years were our traditional things, like within hoodoo, or little things that we do, even collard greens, black eyed peas, things like that. These are our traditions brought down to modern times that some of us may or may not know, and a lot of people are doing it now. So, but yeah, that book, I don't have my copy on hand, but that book really, really, really is amazing. Can you show it again, Jay, so they can see it? If you can get your. I really want to do like a whole book review on this book, because it's powerful. It really, really, really is. And there's not a lot of history we can get our hands on. When it comes to Black history, yes, there are like the freedom fighters and people that did things for us, but I'm talking like way back when we were signing X for our names. When we could choose our birthday, and when we were not able to be ourselves, they didn't care. It's like, wipe that out. You don't need a birth certificate. You don't need to know who you're coming from. They gave you your name. So things like that, even though it's like hard, it seems harsh and hurtful, it's so powerful. It's so necessary for us to read and connect on any level. And that's going all back to respect. Within our Black community, we need to have love for each other, and anybody that wants to learn or has knowledge, we need to share, because we're all coming from different walks of life. So it's really important. And that's where listening to your elders, being respectful to your elders, like a lot of people, young kids these days, could care less about their grandparents or their great-grandparents. They don't care about their folks. So they won't know anything. They're running around yelling the N-word. They think it's cute. It's become a term that it's just like, hey, buddy, like, you know, they're using the N-word as like a friendly word, and it's never been a friendly word. Yeah. It's never, ever. And it's a nasty, hateful word. And some people think, oh, well, we've taken it and made it our own. And I know our Southern family members may still say it, but they're coming from a different generation. But it's a horrible word. It's not a pet name, and it's not something to be taken lightly. But our younger generations now, it's different. And even with my children, like the group of children they're in school with, it's almost like they're fixated on African Americans, they're fixated on Blacks. It's always something in this, in that, about their, you know, in penis, like it's they sexualize it. My dad even works at a school, and he deals with these issues where they graffiti the N-word, the graffiti genitals, you know. It's just, I don't know what it's turned into like a sick obsession, and they think it's funny, and it's not. I don't know what the hell's going on. It's like completely like flipped to where now, before the Black was like hated and treated horribly, even though they were very needed, because they were so smart and they knew how to grow things and they knew how to make things work, and things that over here when they were building America, they did not know how to do. So we were very needed. And I believe they could have got the help of the African if they would have been more kind. There was no need to steal. There was no need to take, rape, murder, and hold captive. You could have made friends and asked or tried to communicate better. Same with the indigenous. You didn't need to kill them all just to build something or wipe them out so you could take over.
Yeah.
It's really shaped everything. Go ahead.
Yeah, you really make a good point about that when it comes to just like how people fetishize our own people too, when it comes to just what you see, when it comes to with younger people on social media especially. And like when it comes to with that, and like I know like sometimes too when it comes to with people in their own spiritual path, I always tell people to really just, if it feels right to you from your soul, you really just being raw and real with that, just go with it too, especially when it comes to, if like say it's like a Black man wants to just step, you know, grows up in a Christian family, because like I was raised in a Christian family, even with my mom was raised to being a Jehovah's Witness, which I didn't find out later in life too, which I totally respect, because that's my mom. I love her. God bless her soul. And it's just like my mom always tells me to, and especially, you know, when it comes to just really embracing who I am too, even if it's just like not with Christianity too, just like really discovering, like going on your own spiritual path, just really, practicing that with your body. It could be with dance, it could be with cooking, it could be with anything too, with your voice. And that's like my passion when it comes to with the chakras and, the cell, body, and energy too. Because, everything around us is energy. It can be from our clothes to our cells to how we say things and to what we see too. And just like when it comes to whether you're a black man or a black woman, if you're my shade, if you're shade like your Cecily, just really embracing that. Don't let nobody say like I'm taking your black card just because you're not perceiving how I want you to see, or vice versa. You're being like a Carlton or a Tom or something too. Just really, just really being your most healthiest self when it comes to being who you are as a black person, whether you're a man or a woman, if you're straight or gay, etc. Just really embracing that in your own powerful way to really just walk down your own spiritual path, connecting to your deities, how you want to practice that in a healthy way. Not only that, just really like makes you feel healthy, but also too that can help support the people that you care about and your environment, especially when it comes to just really with the trees, with the air, with the fire, and with the water. And I can really go woo on it. How you want to explain it? It's just knowledge, so it's like, just really doing that in a really powerful way. And if you have to just step out of Christianity, that's cool. If you like Christianity, even though there's some dark history to that too, I mean, that's your choice at the end of the day, because we can't tell people how they should walk their own spiritual path. But at the same time, if someone is open to just like, they just want to explore their ancestral DNA. They want to just embrace that in a really healthy way, whether they're a man or a woman too, or even just like with other practices too, that can really help you to really just learn about yourself and vice versa. That's cool. You can just show them the way, just give them advice and just, just be there for them too as a community. Because at the end of the day, life is tough alone, and just like just being there for each other in a healthy way, and not trying to like gaslight them, not trying to like get one over on someone. That it doesn't help us on the way. It just makes things worse and pretty much make things more chaotic. As you've probably seen too, like what's happening. What your kids have seen, or what you've seen, and Victor, etc. So like when it comes to, because like when I read this book, like I read like the first chapter of it too, and I kind of understood right in the get-go because I grew up in a Christian family. It's just like, and like I think I stopped believing in Christianity as right the time where Michael Jackson has passed. So it was kind of like, it was like a turning point, just because it's like, like I saw some stuff that I didn't realize when it comes to a certain family, even though I was like, okay, they're my family. I was like, I'll love them from afar, but at the same time I was like, maybe Christianity is not for me anymore. And just really going on that journey of just like, accepting it, even though it's just like at times where I'm like at my aunt's house, or if on Christmas, I'll go along when it comes to if people want to just say a prayer before eating. I was like, I'll do with that, but at the same time, I'm just walking down my own spiritual path, and I'm accepting of people who are on a different path, and just we're on the same planet called Earth too. And just like for Black women who want to just really empower themselves in a powerful way, like you are, whether you're a shade like Beyonce or Cecily or like me or Wesley Snipes, embrace that. There's nothing wrong with you. Just being your healthiest self can really just help you along the way, and it really helps the planet too, if you really just think about it in a scientific and spiritual way, when it comes to just loving yourself and treating other people with kindness. And it just has like a kind of like energetic effect too. So it's just, I know it's kind of like a nerdy hippie thing to say, but fuck it, I'm just gonna say it. It's powerful, and how we can really just just connect with our own spirituality, and how we can really just embracing that, and even just understanding ourselves fully as a person. When it comes to just, if you want to express your spirituality with dance, that's beautiful. Dance is like in our culture too. It's in our DNA. It's just like especially when it comes to the drums. It's just like when you hear the drums, you just want to get up and just do something. It's like even with me, when I hear a drum, I just want to just being the Michael Jackson video. I was like, I'm ready to dance. I'm ready to fight. Let's do this. Come on. Let's go.
Like, I hear drumming too. Like, I get chills. It's like just like a Nyabingi, even when it comes to like, Rastafarianism and, like the Nyabingi that they do, the circle and the drumming. And it's just like really the fellowship that's lifting up. And it's like, when it comes to Christianity, it was hard for me to like shake it off. It was hard for me to accept the change that I was going through, and it took a lot of work to accept that it was okay, because in Christianity we're taught that all these things are bad. It's demonic, it's bad, it's the devil, it's not good. So being able to say, no, and then the more that I read from different religions and different learning our own African traditions or indigenous and things like that, asking family members, even old Norse beliefs and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
You may not even like notice, but when you read and you stop saying, oh, my thing's the best, my way's the only way, my way's the only way, and you're implementing we're of the flesh, we're implementing our beliefs with our human mind and not on a spiritual level. The message in Christianity is love. Above all, love each other deeply. It is love, 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 love. So if we're judging one another because of the way that we want to worship or the way we want to do things, then it no longer is love. You are controlling and manipulating the situation. You're putting your own human beliefs into it, and you're making it hateful. And then you don't win that way. And so that was like something that was definitely kind of tough for me to shake, was the Christianity thing. And I still know my Bible and will use my Bible and still call on the Lord and things like that. But it's in different ways. I'm content, and like I know I've learned different. I know what you know what I mean? Like I know better now, and I'm comfortable with it. I'm not at odds with myself and my beliefs, because there can be a spiritual warfare going on in your heart and your mind when you're transitioning. And that's not a good feeling. And then what happened to me, and I think it's happened to some people, is that you then like desert everything. So you're like, wait a minute, I'm trying to figure this spirituality out, but I'm not going to be so Christian anymore. And then you might get mad at the Christianity situation. You can be mad at Christianity, but you don't need to be mad at God. You can be like, oh, they forced this on us, I'm angry about it. Okay, that wasn't him, that was them. You see what I'm saying about implementing our mind and like our feelings into it, and it makes it into a situation. So then you kind of get lost, and you're kind of like feel isolated, because you're like, I'm not doing Christianity. I don't know if this one's right because it's spirituality. What am I? And then that's when you can go into feeling isolated or not doing so well. And then you're going to pick a side. When if you would really just trust yourself and listen to spirit, and you would realize it's all together and it's all love. It's a whole story. It can be the same story of Jesus Christ and everything in a different culture with different names in a different way. But the message is always the same, that the divine wants you to spread love, be healthy, have a good mind, find your destiny, love others. Like everything's a lesson in life, and we're here to love each other.
Everything's a lesson in life.
Yeah.
That should be true. Yeah, seriously, because in different cultures, when it comes to how to just like share love and express it, I know like I'm a big fan of Greek mythology, and I love it too. Ever since I was just a kid in the 90s. And my name says it too, Hercules. I'm a fan of Hercules, but at the same time, I'm a really big fan of Aphrodite, because she's the goddess of love. I know that's Greek culture, and that's their culture too. And shout out to anyone who's in the Greek culture too, who's watching this. But it's just like, when I'm reading about Aphrodite, I was like, oh, this is interesting. How to really just not only just practice, love when it comes to with your sexuality with your partner, but also how you can really just do that when it comes to with your art. It could be with gardening, or with painting, or with drawing, or with just like spreading that message when it comes to just like knowing yourself and supporting each other, supporting your planet too. It's like what you just mentioned. So even like with other cultures too, like in Norse or African and other cultures too, even like in Taoism and other cultures too in Asia, it's just, there's many forms of deities who share the message of love too, and also as well when it comes to with knowledge and with war. I know that's kind of like a tricky topic, but like when it comes to with that, just really defending yourself and not let nobody just push you around, and knowing yourself. And it's so much knowledge when it comes to with deities from different cultures. It's really mind-boggling if you really just think about it too, because it's not just all about like having like a big hammer, you're blind and you're just like saving the world too, which is cool in the entertainment sense, but like in the spiritual sense, if you really just breaking down that knowledge, it's like, oh, okay, that's, it's powerful, and how we can really just, knowing ourselves, especially as, human beings on this planet, but especially as Black people on this planet too. Like, there's this martial art, and this is called capoeira, and has a really powerful history when it comes to African ancestry, because it's a martial art. It's like in the form of a dance, but it's a martial art. So it's like you play the drums, and then it's a beautiful martial art. I don't know much about it. The first thing I saw from capoeira is from Tekken 3, Eddie Gordo, and I was like, this is a beautiful martial art. I like to know not just about the character's background, but also the martial art background of capoeira. And when I was doing the research of it, it's beautiful. There's even like my friends of mine too who practice capoeira. If I'm saying that name correctly, it's the most beautiful yet beautiful martial art in the world. But at the same time, it has a really powerful ancestry when it comes to with African culture, because it's like African slaves were brought to Brazil, and from my knowledge, from knowing that, and then like they create this kind of like martial art in the form of a dance, using drums and all that, and it's a somewhat dark, but at the same time, it's a really powerful martial art too when it comes to doing your own research about it too. When it comes to with that, but I'm just gonna say it just for my own knowledge. I'm not an expert of capoeira, but I love to practice that. I know some of it because friends of mine taught me, but it's just really, when it comes to just like for Black people to really just connecting with their own ancestral DNA. If you're from Jamaica, if you're from parts of Africa, or even if you're a mixture of, if you're a Native American or even Black too, because my mom said she was Native American, African, and my cousins and my mom's side said they were English. So maybe I'm a mixture of a lot of people, but at the same time, just really connecting that really just feels right to you, and just really doing that in a powerful way that's just not harmful towards other people in your environment, especially towards ourselves too, can really make a difference. So it's do you think that spirit, sorry guys if you hear my dogs barking, the kids just got home from school, so I'll probably need to get off soon, but this is real life. This is like it's real life, guys. I have real life going on. Anyway, so do you think that spirits or deities, like, do you honestly think that they see ethnicity? Do you think that they care what you are? Like what's your opinion on that? Do you think that spirits or deities, gods, goddesses, do you think they really care what race you are, what you're coming from? Do you think that affects any type of connection with them or worship? Like, you know what I mean? Because I know in some cultures you have to be initiated. Well, then to me it becomes organized religion, and it becomes a group that you have to be like, oh, well, you can only get in it if you're this or that, or this or that. I understand you need training to do certain things, but it's not going to be like it was before, and we don't all have access to it. And if you have a natural connection to certain things, I mean, what's your opinion on that? Do you think spirits or gods, goddesses care what your ethnic background is? Do you think that makes a difference when it comes to worship? Oh, that is a really good question. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure when it comes to with the answer, just because it's like with deities, I mean, they're in a higher form of living from us mortals, so it's
right.
Like, they don't color, but it's just like when it comes to with like people's hearts and everything else, that's a really good answer. But I'm just gonna really just be honest and really just respond to your question. It's just, I could say this, if it, like, let's say for example, like say it was like a Black man and a Black woman wants to practice Reiki, and they want to just learn the background about it when it comes to from the roots, when it comes to that energetic practice from Japan too, or energy practice from Japan too, and just really wants to learn more about it when it comes to just actually going to like Mount Kyoto, which is actually where the roots of Reiki is from, with the Sensei Mikao Usui, if I'm saying his name correctly, and like that's beautiful. Whether you're a black man or a black woman, any spiritual practice really just feels right to you, if it's Reiki, if it's yoga, if it's capoeira, martial arts, or if it's Greek mythology or anything like that, go for it. I mean, it's just like, at the end of the day, we're human beings. It's good to really just appreciate who we are, especially if we're different too. If like they look like me, if they look like you, if they look like that, and just really, being there for each other, connecting as a community to where we can not only be prosperous when it comes to just with us being rewarded to the things that we're doing, when it comes to just with our gifts and talents and our own destinies and all that too, in our own spiritual past, and just like when it comes to with the deities, I mean, I think they don't see color, they just see when it comes to with our hearts and actions.
Right.
But I know with the human sense, like, our human nature is so weird, because like it can really just be unique one day, but then it could be just crazy the next, because we, shame people, we criticize them, we go to war, and all kinds of stuff too. But like when it comes to with deities, to me, this is from my opinion, I don't think they see color, they just see when it comes to with our hearts and actions. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree that, I mean, obviously, if it's coming from a certain culture, maybe the deities it'll be easier for them to reach out to you. If you're from that culture, maybe it's easier for them to reach out to you. It's up to you if you ignore them or not. But as far as paying respect, if you're a white person who wants to worship an Orisha, or you want to go do some kind of Asian type of like spirituality, like I don't think that the spirits care whatsoever what you are, as long as you have good intentions and as long as you're being respectful.
Yeah.
That's where it goes all back to respect. That's where it happens. As long as they feel respected and they feel that you're genuine, because they know they don't care what you look like or where you're coming from. That's my opinion. Just be respectful and they'll be there for you. They'll give you signs, you know what I mean? And like speaking of signs too, like for example, I recently, I go to the water a lot. I go to the ocean a lot. And so like recently, I was there and I'll leave an offering every time I go, really. And I remember I left the last 2 times, I left some roses for Yamaya, and then I went back and I did like I soaked a rum in a watermelon like overnight, and then I brought it to the ocean. I did some meditating, and I started seeing. I always get signs from her, but I started seeing them more and more and more, because she wanted me to know that she received it. And the last sign that I got was like, it blew me away, which was, my husband and I were in the car and we were driving to go pick the kids up from school. And I was like on my phone looking something up. I just so happened to look up at the right time, and the license plate of the person in front of us said Yemaya 4.
Whoa.
And I was like, wow, like that's her. Like, I looked up at the right time, because had I not looked up, I wouldn't have seen it. And the number 4 I had been seeing all the time, 444. Even the guy at work was like making me a new name tag, because I didn't have a name tag, and he's all, your name's not 4. Like 4s were coming up when he was trying to do it. So I was getting that, and it resonated with me really, really deeply. And I was like, wow, things like that. She is letting me know that she received, she's here with me. She received my offering. She heard my prayers, and, she's here with me. And, I'm always very respectful of everybody's culture and things. But my point with the offerings is that you leave an offering and you're genuine. They don't care what you are or what you're coming from. I believe it's all about your heart, and they will let you know that they appreciate you. and that they see you. So as long as you're giving from a place of love and like being genuine.
Agree.
Yeah. If you guys hear a duck too, yeah, that's my duck. I have a duck as well.
Got a zoo in there.
You're gonna start thinking this is a zoo or a farm. But
there's nothing wrong with that. Got the Moses background down. Got all the animals.
Yeah.
In there.
I have my window open, so you'll hear them. But
okay.
Anywho, yes. So that's my take on that. When it comes to if you need to be a certain ethnicity to practice a certain type of worship or magic and things, and spread love, everybody. I've had a really good time on here with you, JB. This is my first live stream. I couldn't do it on my own, folks, because I only have 56 followers, so it wouldn't let me get on there and yap. So my good friend Herc here, he had to step up and collab with me.
No worries, it's all good.
I hope everybody enjoys it, and then you'll have to send it to me so that I can post it on my page.
I'll try to download it, and I'm gonna send it to you too.
Yeah.
So I'll share that, and I might edit it too, so when it comes to the background music on it. So
yeah, please do.
Yeah, if I can.
And then otherwise just keep it raw. But I hope everybody enjoys it. Yeah, I hope everybody enjoys this, and I definitely plan on doing more videos with you in the future. And like I said, I'm gonna get that YouTube going so that you and I can do reactions to certain things, and we can go over other topics.
Oh, that'll be freaking hilarious. I would love that. Yeah. Need a reaction party. That'll be cool. And that'll stuff your channel and mine too.
Yeah. And then from my channel, like I said, I'm still seeing what direction I'm taking my Instagram with Your Spirit's Hand. Like I said, eventually I'll offer different like conjure oils, candles, things like that, just when it comes to your everyday life and things. But a lot of water worship and water love for those deities in there, and even our ancestors that are in there, because a lot of people jumped ship when they were being taken. They fought and they didn't want to be brought here to the unknown, so they jumped ship, and they're there. And they're here to listen to. So when you're at the beach or at the water, know that your folks are there taking care of you, because the oceans connect and we're all connected. And the water is so full of riches and knowledge and love and fear and hurt and pain. Everything's in the water.
Too, like in Taoism, and like what Bruce Lee said in many of his videos, water is endless, formless, shapeless. It's powerful. It fills our body. We need it, just like a fish needs water.
Right.
Swim in the ocean with school with his buddies. It could be from little fish to big sharks to whales. Even with Aquaman too, Aquarians, if any Atlanteans is listening, I'm speaking this because I'm a comic book fan too, but on a serious note, on a spiritual perspective too, when it comes to with water, and I'm speaking with my shamanism kind of background here too. Water is very free-flowing and just like emotional, and just like it's a powerful force. Whether in Taoism and other cultures too, water is so important. It really just fills us up and supports our planet, and it also too, it's one of the most powerful elements, as long as with fire and with the earth, and especially with air too. So that you guys have, like Bruce Lee said, be formless and shapeless like water, because it's ever free-flowing and very powerful. So shout out to Bruce Lee and his family.
Absolutely. Yeah, we come from water. We grow in water in our mother's womb, and it's just a beautiful thing. And I'm looking around because I have a ton of books, but I really want to start doing like a spiritual book review and just like talking with stuff. We should get into the next video. Maybe we get more into that book that we both have.
That's
taking notes. Yeah, that'll be a real chatty video. We could take notes and
I might have to read it, because like I scrolled through it and I understood like everything too when it comes to this book. It's like a lot of indoctrination it did to our deep life, to Christianity. So it's like, damn, I have to reread it again just to get the understanding again. Make another video about this book in general too, because I was reading this when you recommended me this book. I was like, oh, this is powerful. I'm gonna just buy it with my own money and check it out. So it's like, thank you for recommending me this book to me, because it's like it's so informative, and it's an eye-opener. Like I said, it might hurt your feelings, and we don't mean it to
it's a recommendation. It's a great read if you could get your hands on. No matter what your background is, knowledge is power. You should be knowledgeable. Mm-hmm. The thing about it, like I said, it's an eye opener. Your feelings could get hurt. It's gonna open your eyes. It's gonna be like, for me, my emotions were just like, oh my gosh, like. Imagine, I try to put myself in their shoes, and it's like, oh sheesh, like we have things going on now, but back then, like, yeah. And the thing too is like, our people were something beautiful and magnificent, and they were doctors, and they were teachers, and they were mothers and fathers and grandparents, elders, and shamans, and they were doing so many things beautiful. They're warriors, you know what I mean, and priestesses, and we had such a rich culture and community. Then to be taken and brought somewhere new where you were told you were worthless and you weren't shit, and to label you and take your name and call you something else is just horrific, and it's terrifying. And we've definitely come a long way, and we still have to stand up for our rights, and we need to be acting out of love, and accepting and teaching other people instead of saying, oh, you're not black, or you're white, or you're this, or you're that, Yeah. It is hurtful when we encounter racism today, and ignorance is no excuse because we all know better. But we gotta, like I always say, are we gonna act? Are we like, if I get upset or offended, I'm like, am I gonna do MLK or am I doing Malcolm X? Who am I doing? Who's coming through me today? So just let that, But ultimately, we want to educate others on things because they don't even know, and most of the stuff's not taught in schools. It's like a brief chapter, if that. So just spread love. I know Black History Month's going on.
That's like the next few days, right?
Yeah, in February. But my opinion is that Black History Month, it's like more like Black History Year, because American history, like we are Black history, like America, it's us, and the indigenous and other. It's like a big mixing pot. But from the beginning, when everything happened, we are history. We don't need just a month. Other people don't need just a month. It's all year long, every day. So, I mean, if everybody just starts to have an open mind and be more accepting, we can make some changes in the world for everyone. So just try your best, folks, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise or have you thinking anything of yourself that isn't true. Like, love yourself. Be secure with yourself, and find some good people. Get in a good community with people who are, like-minded and that you can communicate with or ask questions to, so that you guys can. And you know what I mean? Community has always been an amazing, amazing thing. And these days we have social media and things like that, so it's much easier to connect. You don't even have to leave your house. You know what I mean? So just try to get in with the community.
Right. Like with community, because that's what I preach about. So it's like, on my website at blissfulheroescommunity.com, not only you can really create groups when it comes to, like, if you want to create like a spiritual group or anything like that, you can write, express your creativity in the blog. You can post forum posts when it comes to with spirituality, technology, entertainment, gaming. So I really, when I looked at my website, I kind of created like a new social media, even though I didn't recognize it as a social media. It's supposed to be like a healthy living platform by church. Transforming into a social media platform, which is going to be really cool. But it's not like trying to compete, it's just trying to unite people as like a whole a collective, when it comes to like a melting pot of different backgrounds, from African ancestry to Native American to Brazilian, Colombian, etc. So it's kind of like if you have a good heart and you want to connect with like-minded people and you want to just, express who you are and just really doing that in a powerful way, just feel free to reach out to me. Check out the Blissful Heroes community website, the Discord page, or even check out my channel too if you like to be entertained when it comes to topics like relationships, spirituality, wellness, dating, because we talk about that in an open kind of environment to where you can really just be yourself. But also too, if you see something that you don't like or something that you like, just really call that out in a healthy way and just be yourself. So yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
And stand up for yourself. Like Bob says, Bob Marley, get up, stand up. Stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. So Spread love. Anyways, I'm super excited. Like I'm gonna say it again. This has been fun, Jay, because it's my first ever live collab.
You're an expert. I was like, oh, she's taking over my show. So this is
gosh, thank you. I appreciate that. No, I just you get me on here, I'm gonna yap. So
oh, that's cool. Do your thing, girl. I'm supporting you. I like supporting people who are doing powerful things like you and other people too. So, like for me, I feel like kind of like a host. It's like I've done this before, so it's like giving someone else the platform to speak their truth, which I'll totally do. If I have like a million subscribers, I'll still support people who have less than me or more. So about being open heart. So I kind of have that Keanu Reeves / Michael Jackson kind of vibe where it's like, you know what, I'm just gonna be chill about it. Just go for it. You get it in a really healthy way, of course, too. So it's like with that. So
thank you.
Those are my.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
Yeah, likewise. I appreciate you too. Like, thank you for being who you are and just keeping it real, keeping it buck. And if I'm moving my chair around because I gotta pee, it's just like I don't want to put some.
That's it.
That's
folks.
okay. That's okay.
Cut it. Cut the cameras.
So yeah. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. And if you guys want to support Cecily, feel free to follow her on Instagram. Please check out her work too. Just really help her to where she can really just go live and do her own thing, so she can host her own shows and all that too. So if you guys ever want to check out one of my best friends in the world, Cecily, love her dearly. She's awesome, amazing person. Her and her partner are awesome people. We game together. We talk a lot about different stuff together too, and they're cool people. So if you guys want to check them out, feel free to do so. If you're watching the replay of this live too, and of course for anyone who's watching this on YouTube as well, if I try to download it too, feel free to check her out too. I'll make sure to post her information as well. So with that being said, I gotta,
yes, thank you.
I gotta go. Thank you guys for watching. So
be blessed, everybody.
Yes, much.